Thank you for stopping by. Today, we're going to talk about buying used chainsaws. If you're new here, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button. I love chainsaws. I do a lot of things with chainsaws on this channel. I split a lot of wood. You should hit the subscribe button. Today, we're going to talk about buying a used chainsaw. Should you buy a used chainsaw and things to look for? Number one, when you're going to go buy a new chainsaw, check to see is it worth buying used. A lot of people want almost new prices for chainsaws, and you might as well just buy one brand new. Number two, check to see if whatever you're going to buy, is it still supported? If you're going to buy something older, can you still get parts for it? Are they readily available? Because if it is older, you might have to work on it. Number three, figure out if you want to buy from this person. If you see a chainsaw for sale, take a good look at it, figure out what it was used for, and if that is something that you are interested in and you're interested in buying a chainsaw that was used in that fashion. My friend Aaron is an expert, I think, when it comes to buying a new chainsaw, and he's given me a lot of good advice, and I want to share that advice with you. So when you're thinking about buying the chainsaw, one thing that you really should look for is check on the bar. Is there marks on it on either end where they were using it in a mill? Usually if a chainsaw is used in a mill for quite a while, as in like a Alaskan sawmill or something like that, there will be big marks on it where the mill was bolted to the bar. Now, is milling with a chainsaw bad? No, I would mill with my chainsaws, but if it was milled with for extended periods of time with no maintenance, maybe with not the right gas and oil mixture, it could really do some damage. When you're milling, you're running the chainsaw wide open for a long period of time. So if they weren't cleaning the air filter, if they weren't running the right gas in there, like I said, it could really do some damage. You can definitely tell that by the marks on the bar. And then another good way is check out their Facebook Marketplace account if that's what you're shopping on, or ask them what they've done with it. But if they're selling a lot of mill parts on their Marketplace account, or they're selling milled wood, good chance it's been milled with, and that's a decision you need to make if you want a chainsaw that's been milled with. Next, make sure what you're buying is actually what you're buying. If you were buying a MS660, a 372 XP Husqvarna, any of the older saws that are probably for sale right now, but also there's a lot of copies made of them, make sure it's the real one if you're going to pay the real price for it. Or, you know, if you know that it's a clone, then, you know, do what you want with that. To make sure it's a real one, you can check on the handle. On the Husqvarnas, right under the trigger on the handle, there is all the specifications on it. Some of the fake saws won't have that on there. On the Stihl chainsaws, right on top of the clutch and by the muffler, there will be a serial number, I don't know, stamped on there, pressed on there, whatever, it's right there. The Stihls also have the information in the handle, but make sure it is a real saw. There is a lot of clones that people will put all the OEM plastics on and then sell it as a real saw. There's nothing wrong with those saws, but I would hate to be the person that pays $1,000 for an MS660 clone that looks like a real Stihl, but it's not, when you could just go buy that brand new for $400 or $500. So make sure it is a real chainsaw that you're buying. Next thing, check the saw out good. Take the cap off or the cover, however it may be. Check out the air filter. Is the air filter all dirty? Chances are, if they're selling it to you with it all dirty, they probably didn't take the best care of it, or maybe they just don't care. I don't know. But check it out. See if the air filter's clean. Check out the whole, everything under the cover. Did they clean it? Has it been sitting inside water? Was it sunk? I don't know. Check those things out. Check the body underneath for cracks. All under here. A lot of times if it was used in like a tree service or something, or maybe just a careless person like myself, maybe it got dropped or thrown or something, make sure it's not all cracked up. Check out the gas tank. Some of the older saws, they'll leak gas, and these gas tanks are like 150 bucks, so make sure the gas tank's in good shape. Check out the clutch cover. Sometimes they'll be broken. There'll be broken fins in here. And the broken fins aren't a problem, but the problem is when the fins do break, if they get caught in the recoil and something messes up in there. So check that out. Lastly, I see a lot of misinformation on this. A lot of people will say when you're going to go buy a new chainsaw, pull the muffler and check the piston for scoring. And while that is a great point to check the piston for scoring, you know, you can have a really good compression chainsaw with a little bit of piston scoring, and it's going to run fine. You're not even going to notice it until you find it. But if you're just checking it for scoring, you know, you're kind of missing, does it have good compression? Does it have any air leaks? So forth. So if you are concerned about that and you really want to check out the health of the chainsaw, bring a compression tester with you. You can get them on Amazon. They're not too expensive. Pull a spark plug. Look up online what the chainsaw is supposed to have for compression and put the compression tester on there and see, does it have close to OEM compression? You know, because I have taken apart several 2-stroke engines that they were worn out. They needed rebuilt, and they didn't have any piston scoring at all. The piston was nice and clean, but the rings were just worn out. It just had a lot of hours on it and they were worn out. So that's not something you're going to tell from popping the muffler off. If all you're concerned about is piston scoring, like I said, you can pop that muffler off and it's going to look great, but it's going to be worn out. So the piston scoring, it could go either way. I don't think that's really worth checking. If you really want to check something, check the compression of it. And while you're checking the compression of it, you'll also be able to tell, does it have air leaks somewhere, like in the base gasket or anything. Another good thing to check is right between the air filter and the carburetor and then the engine, there is a rubber boot. Make sure that's in good condition. It's not all cracked up. So those aren't super expensive things, but you know, it's one of those things that it might run great today and then it runs like crap tomorrow, and you'll know, you know, if this is in good shape, then that's something. One last thing you could do, if you're buying an M-Tronic or an auto-tune saw, if you are in good graces with your dealership, maybe you could meet the seller at your dealership and they could plug into the saw and see how many hours are on it. So those are a handful of little things to check when you're buying a used chainsaw. You know, there is a lot of chainsaws on Marketplace for sale that somebody's only used maybe a handful of times and they decided, hey, I really don't need this anymore. Let me go ahead and see if I can get some money out. And they're like brand new. They're a great deal. There's a lot of ones on Marketplace that have been extensively used and they're selling it because they got a new one and the old one's just flat out worn out. Guys, that's a handful of things to check when you're buying a used chainsaw. I hope you found this video informational. Guys, that will do it for this one. If you found this enjoyable, why don't you go ahead and hit the like button. And if you have a horror story on buying a used chainsaw, why don't you go ahead and share that with me in the comments. I would love to hear that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day.